Today was our first day here and I'm exhausted. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. The beaches were beautiful and the ocean was so blue, bright, bright blue. We did a bunch of stuff, had a really good lunch and a coconut. The coconut was great. I've never had a coconut before. But then in the afternoon we went to a museum. It was basically honouring the history of occupation from Indonesia and all of the human rights violations that occurred there. And we even went into the dark cells, what are called the dark cells, where people were held and tortured. And one of our guides actually was telling us the story tonight of how he was in those cells for a time in the late 90s. So that was really emotional and challenging. There were a lot of stories of women from that era and the sexual violence that occurred. So it was a pretty intense day. And then we just had a dinner, but I'm feeling pretty done. I'm ready for bed, so off to bed. See you tomorrow. Another day here in Dili, and again I'm exhausted. Today I don't think it was as emotional as yesterday was, or it was emotional in a different way. We went to the Resistance Museum, which again dealt with a lot of, just the history of Timor, especially under Indonesian occupation, which, as we found out yesterday, was brutal in many ways. And nearly a third of the population in Timor died in the 24 years that Indonesia occupied Timor, so it's pretty intense stuff, and we saw footage of massacres, and it's hard to watch. But today it was framed differently to what it was yesterday. Yesterday was very much individual personal stories and kind of empathizing with and stepping into the experience of individuals that went through that, learning about specific cases of torture, things like that. Whereas this was more a timeline of what happened and where it happened, if that makes sense. So in a way, it gives context to the human story, but I don't know, it's almost easier to detach from those numbers, right? Whereas, seeing it, the big scale numbers, like the 200,000 or however many were killed, it's big stuff. And sometimes it's easy to dissociate from those big numbers. So the experience of yesterday's museum, I think, was really important in grounding that in these were humans, these are people, many of whom are alive today or who have family who are alive today that went through this time. So it was difficult in a different way. Lots of experiences and a good day. See you tomorrow. Morning friends, we are here for day 3. We're going to the World Bank and a few other places, and it's a beautiful day. I'm really looking forward to it. So let's go. We're having a bit of a midday break, which is nice because we've had a really big week so far. And we went to the World Bank and kind of had a chat with, I don't know what his position title was, but basically he kind of runs the World Bank in Timor-Leste. And it was very interesting hearing him talk and just how big the World Bank is, and how perhaps some of what they do is more driven by the shareholders, the people giving the money, more than it is by the needs of the community. So that was interesting. And then we stopped off at a local little market to have some lunch and also pick up some goodies. I got just a cute little journal with this kind of traditional, you can see behind me as well, this, I don't know what it's called. I'll have to ask what this is called, but I got some bookmarks like this too. And then we also picked up, we've all fallen in love with these tango. They're basically just wafers, but they're really yummy. And a girl that we're on the trip with picked up a massive box for $1.75 and just came by and gave me a bunch of them. So our day has been a little bit more relaxed in the past few days. You know, talking to the World Bank, although it's very serious and important stuff, it's less confronting perhaps than some of the museums we've been to the previous few days. Morning. We've just been given these from the commission, Anti-Corruption Commission, and they're beautiful. It was a really interesting talk. We're heading off to Otoro Island now, catching a boat, and it's going to be beautiful. It's our little weekend away. the boat getting to the island. I haven't been on a boat like that out in the middle of the ocean. I just couldn't stop laughing. I was having so much fun. And then we hopped on 2 utes to drive up the very, very rocky 3 kilometers to get to the hotel. And once you walk out, and the view is just unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's unreal. Tomorrow I think is largely a free day here on the island, so I might walk down to the beach, or I have no idea what I'm going to do. We'll see. The 2 places we went to this morning before coming to the island, they were really interesting too. We went to the Anti-Corruption Commission, which is a pretty small, they're government funded, but they're not funded very well. And they have quite a few limitations on them, but they do really important work with a very small staff. And then we went to the Public Defender's Office and spoke to some people there, and it was really interesting hearing about how in Timor everyone by law has access to free representation, I think is how I understood it. So this office represents anyone and everyone in court, which I think is a really awesome idea, concept, you know, the fact that everyone has access to representation. But they're not very well funded either. So if you've been following me on Instagram and you were expecting just a cute little vlog of paradise, perhaps you'll be a little bit surprised. And I certainly can't give you a complete picture of Timor. I mean, one, because I'm only really being in the capital. But then also, you know, a lot of the stuff I'm learning is in dialogue, you know, and I can't present that all to you. But if you are interested, definitely have a bit more of a research, because it's very interesting. It's a very interesting study, I suppose, of, you know, what happens to a country after colonization or after occupation, and what kind of rebuilding and establishing a national identity, and, you know, creating a constitution, and also the resource curse, you know, we spoke about that recently too. So Timor's a very interesting case study, I suppose, as well as just a really moving, complex human story as well. So I had a good sleep in. It is after 8 in the morning, but it's really dark because they don't let us, they turn all the electricity off, so it is bright outside, just not in the rooms. Today is our free day. Last night I kind of went to bed a bit early, had a mocktail, and then came to bed. Everyone else stayed up and partied a little bit later, but I was just exhausted and I slept right through. I think I slept for about 10 hours, but I think I just needed it. And today I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I might go for a walk, might get a massage, I don't know. We can do whatever we want. So let's see what we get up to. The most beautiful thing ever. There's like no one around. It's just magical. Some of my friends have gone snorkeling I'm just going for a walk along this entirely secluded beach and it's magical. Had a beautiful morning walking along the beach. I don't think I've ever seen anything so beautiful in my life, but it is quite warm, so I've run out of water. So I'm gonna head back up to the resort, maybe have a bit of a chill by the pool and get some nice cold water. Crazy back of the ute ride around Toro Island, and it was amazing. It was incredible, but also pretty intense. All of us have very sore bums. It was very, very bumpy and a bit scary coming when we're going up or down hills with that many people in the back. But we survived and it was a lot of fun. But it is our last night on the island. Tomorrow we go back to Timor, the mainland, the Timor proper, and then back into it, back into meeting with people and learning all the things. I'm feeling pretty tired, but I am still having a wonderful time and experiencing a lot of things that are really new to me, but really exciting. Welcome to week 2. I'm just heading off for breakfast. I'm a little bit just fancy for Timor anyway, because we are going to court. We're going to watch a court proceeding happen, and then possibly talk to the judge after. And we have a couple of other meetings today. So we're on the home stretch. It's going to be a busy week though. We kind of only had a half week last week. We have a full week this week, but it's going to be good, I think. It's our last night in Timor, so we are going out for drinks and dinner.